Looking for these better days.
It is Thursday, September 25th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. Thursday Night Football will kick off Week 4 of the NFL season tonight, and we've had a flip of the favorite. Mackenzie Rivers joins me here on this episode of Better Day. And Mac, we had already been on the Seahawks. We gave out the Seahawks earlier in the week. We took the +1 with the Seahawks, and now they are up to as high as a -1.5 point favorite for tonight's game. What do you make of the flip of the favorite here between the Seahawks and the Cardinals for tonight?
Well, to steal a concept from Fez, if you have some teasers with the Seahawks +7.5, I don't mind getting a little bit of exposure with a different game, a dancing partner on Cardinals +7.5, because I think the Seahawks are a better team, but they are on the road on a Thursday night football game, and they're 1.5 point favorites. It's hard to make sense of it considering where the win totals were for these teams entering the season and their results so far. They're both 2-1. They've been, pretty good, better than expectations. I would have upgraded both of them from the beginning of the year.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Cardinals, how much can we take away? And as I keep mentioning this, from their 2 wins, which were against bad teams, right? Sure. And then you look at the Thursday night case, and it's, early in the season, it's less of a effect than later in the season. Like, certainly road teams later in the season are at a significant disadvantage. Early in the season, not so much. And then, as I mentioned, earlier when I gave out the Seahawks earlier this week, it was just which team is coming off of the harder game on Sunday. And it's clear that the Cardinals are coming off the more difficult game. Like, the Seahawks pretty much cruised to their victory last Sunday. So, that's, to me, more concerning. Also, you look at the injury report for the Cardinals, and I think that there's a lot that you are concerned about. So, receiver Zay Jones is not going to play. Cornerback Will Johnson is doubtful. And 6 other players are questionable here for Arizona. Tackle Kelvin Beachum did not practice on Wednesday, did not practice on Monday, did not practice on Tuesday, was limited on Wednesday. Left guard Evan Brown, tackle Paris Johnson, guard Will Hernandez. Like, this is interesting. And then there's, Calais Campbell doesn't have he was just rested, so there's no injury designation. But, we're talking about a lot of injuries on the offensive line here for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, and weren't you saying that they have the best home field the last 18 months the Cardinals do? But
yeah.
Again, I'm not a big fan of those short-term sample sizes. I think you kind of go by logic when it comes to home field. Green Bay, different grass, great fans. Arizona's not the toughest place to play. Looking at some of these metrics, I'm surprised that there's this big of a difference between them. So they have the same record, obviously, the same average chance to win in the fourth quarter if you look at that. But scoring margin, Seahawks are second, +14. Arizona's +4. If you average Kevin Cole's adjusted score, Seattle +7, fourth in the league, Arizona -1. Or if you look at PFF's adjusted score, Seattle 17th, Arizona 18th. So maybe this is a good team versus a bad team. Maybe I was a little quick to just call them both 2-1 teams.
Yeah, and then also no James Conner now for the Cardinals.
Yep,
so
done for the season.
Trey Benson has to step into a bigger role with a team that has not been able to run the football with the injuries on their offensive line. And so, if you're still without Will Hernandez, if you're still without Paris Johnson Jr., now you don't have James Conner, I have a lot of questions here. I've always felt the Seahawks were the right side, and the market seems to agree with me. So I guess I'm happy I got +1, and I'll gladly sit there tonight and watch the Seahawks hopefully cruise to a victory here over Arizona. Total is low at 43.5. I don't really have a read on that. I would lean towards the under, just because we have, as I mentioned, I don't think the Cardinals are going to score that much, not going to be able to run the football that much, and we know about the Seahawks defense under McDonald, but I don't know if the Seahawks are going to, Sam Darnold's going to throw the ball all over the field, so we'll wait and see about that. As far as Trey Benson is concerned, because that's certainly what people are going to look for, in the prop market for tonight. So I'm looking at the FanDuel Sportsbook right now, and if we look at the rushing props for this game, Trey Benson's yardage is at 58.5. I honestly don't know what to make of this because with the issues on the offensive line, with the Seahawks defense, and with Benson stepping into this role, like is 58.5 too much of a leap here for Benson?
I think so. I mean, let's see. Let's see his last 2 weeks because I'm very skeptical of. All right, he's number 2 on the running back depth chart. Number 1 went out, so he's now a number 1 running back. I think he could easily become. All right, he was number 2. Now he's number 1A with 2 other guys.
Well, also let's compare to James Conner. So in week number 1, James Conner's line was 66.5, and
Right.
he goes under with 39 yards.
Benson did have 69 yards with a 52 long
Yes.
in that week 1 game.
Then in week number 2, James Conner's line was 62.5, and he goes under with a 34. His week 3 line adjusted down to 50.5, and obviously he gets hurt in that game, so he goes under, and so he's done. So the number 1 running back in James Conner had a line of 66.5 in week number 1, down to 62.5 in week number 2, and then down to 50.5 in week number 3. But now all of a sudden we're going to take Trey Benson and put him almost at the same prop margin as what James Conner was. If they were the same player, then Trey Benson would be starting over James Conner.
Yeah, and I think some of this is just his numbers on the season. 125 yards, 6 yards a carry. You back out, I know it's a little unfair too, but you back out that 152-yarder against the Saints, 3.6 yards a carry, only 70 yards. So it's a big difference. He might just not be that good. I would definitely lean under there.
That's what I'm thinking here. And here's what I'll look at is I'll look at some of the next gen stats. Now it's hard, like you said, you can't take away the big run because that does skew things, right? It does skew the numbers.
But teams wouldn't run if they didn't think there was a chance they'd get a big run every now and then.
Yeah.
So it's part of the equation. It's got to be part of the math.
Yeah, it does skew the numbers here. So I guess a good stat line that I would look at is maybe rushing yards over expected. Because that's something like
the Ashton Genty truthers are leaning on that stat right now.
Yeah,
he's more yards after contact Genty does than he does total yards.
So Trey Benson has a plus 48 rushing yards over expected, which is good top half of the league mark here. But rushing yards over expected per attempt, he's at 16th in the league at positive 2.3. His rushing EPA though. Now, this is really interesting. His rushing EPA is negative. It's a negative 0.9 on his rushing yards EPA.
Does he have any fumbles would be my question.
What'd you say?
Does he have any fumbles? Like that's such a glaring negative considering he already had a 52-yarder and 6 yards a carry. How's it negative? How is he doing worse than his expected per snap? Maybe there's one fumble in there, but maybe not.
No fumbles. No fumbles.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's a puzzle.
It's, that's interesting. I take that away. That is very interesting. So, yes, the yards per carry numbers are up because they're going to be skewed by the long run there for sure. But, 6 yards per carry, but take away the one long one, and it changes certainly every dynamic about him. I'm going to lean under. I'm going to go under for this one. Are you
all right? So we have two things here. We have the Seahawks. I tend to agree with that. We have the under and the Cardinals running back. You're always going to be leaning, if not betting, the opposing team's running back under if you like the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But are you building a same game parlay here? Is that what I'm hearing?
So let's do it. We love to build the same game parlay. So here's what we're going to do, Mackenzie. The first part of this parlay is going to be Seahawks money line with Trey Benson rushing yards.
Yeah, after betting the 49ers minus 1.5 last week, I agree with this decision. Let's go money line.
We're going
on the same game parlay.
We're going money line, please. We are going to go with. Oh wow, can we not do an over under on Trey Trey Benson? They only allow us. No, hold on. They can't.
That's like a pretty essential part of the same game parlay.
Well, sometimes they only let you do like the alternates. They don't let you do the over unders. Now here we got it. It's right here. All right, here up on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Our same game parlay doesn't pay out much right now, but it's Seahawks money line and Trey Benson under 58.5. That's at plus 163. It's not that attractive. But here's where we're going to jack up this parlay for a negative correlation, and that's what we're looking for here. We need to look for Trey Benson rushing attempts. And
all right, so he had 10 last game. Obviously, some of that game he was considered the main rusher. I'm guessing it'd be around 11.
Never mind. There is no attempts for there's no attempts for the same game parlay option. But how about this? What if we go Benson under rushing yards and Benson over receiving yards? So he's at 21.5 receiving yards. We go Benson under 58.5 rushing yards, Benson over 21.5 receiving yards, Seahawks money line plus 375.
I was going to suggest either Marvin Harrison or some passing prop over. We could go with Benson. Because you look at the game scripts for the Cardinals all 3 weeks, including last week against the 49ers, they were never in like have to throw it mode or even like should throw it mode. Sitting on the ball at the end of the first two games against the Saints and the Panthers with big leads. And then last week they were really, trying to avoid the big turnover, had some drops. But I think this game, if they're down as we expect, Kyler Murray's thrown for, crazy numbers before. I feel like they're going to try to get maybe force feed Marvin Harrison a little bit. I could see that working out for us as an anti-correlation.
Okay, so here's the first part of this parlay will be Benson under 58.5 rushing yards, Benson over 21.5 receiving yards, Seahawks money line plus 375. Toss in Kyler Murray over 27.5 rushing yards, and now we're at
I like
plus
that. Scrambling for his life, down 20.
Now we're at plus 820.
Just curious, not saying we should do it, but what if it was also his passing yards over? He's going to put up one of those Kyler Murray fantasy days we haven't seen a little bit this year.
Over 209.5 plus 1346.
I wish it was more like double the payout from plus 800.
Just forget about the passing yards. We'll do Kyler over 27.5 rushing yards, Trey Benson under 58.5 rushing yards, Trey Benson over 21.5 receiving yards, and then we go Seahawks money line plus 820.
It tells the story. The Cardinals are not as efficient as they think they will be with their running game, have to scramble, go to their alternative method, and they'll be behind the whole game because the Seahawks are covering. I like it.
Yeah. All right, that is our official same-game parlay, courtesy of the FanDuel Sportsbook, plus 820 right now on that four-leg same-game parlay. Let's bounce around the NFL here, Mackenzie, because you looked up a very interesting trend when it comes to this weekend's games. Now, I did a little research for our friend Fez earlier, taking a look at some teams and how they do before the bye week, because we have we have four teams that are on the bye next week. So I know it's crazy to think like how fast is this NFL season moving?
Right? Is it Christmas already? All right, what are the four teams?
The four teams that are on the bye next week: the Falcons, Bears, Packers, and Steelers. And so this is what I found. I started since the 2021 season. Teams before the bye week are 82, 63, and 1 ATS. That is 56.6%. When those teams are favored, they are 49 and 25 ATS. That is
take care of business.
Yep.
Before they go on their business trip or their vacation.
66.2% ATS. When they are a home favorite, 27 and 12 ATS. 69.2%. When they're home, just in general, whether dogs or favorites, they're 43, 25, and 1 ATS. 63.2%. When they're dogs, it's only 46.4%. When they're home dogs, it's 16 and 12. It's 57%, whatever. In the month of September, this is rare because, the September bye week, and it's crazy. But in the month of September, since 2021, teams that have their bye week, before the bye week, they are 2-1-1 ATS. And if you go back to the start of 2012, it's 19, 17, and 1 ATS. So really, like the early bye, there's nothing to read into there. But what I'm looking into is favorites and home teams before the bye. And so again, the four
So
teams.
yeah, who's the home favorites with the bye?
Well, the
Not the Steelers.
four teams are the Falcons, Bears, Packers, and Steelers are the four teams that are on the bye next week. But only the Packers are at home this week.
No,
No,
they're
the
on the
Packers
road.
are on the road this
They're
week.
at Dallas.
I'm
They're
sorry.
favored though. Yeah.
Yeah, the Packers are the Packers are favored. The Bears are favored, right? But they are both on the road. The Steelers are obviously in Dublin,
in Ireland. Yeah.
in Ireland, and the only home team is out of those four teams is the Atlanta Falcons. But the Falcons are a home dog to the Commanders.
Depends where you look. The trend matters. So if you can find a place where they're still -1, the Falcons, which they were earlier yesterday,
Yeah.
no, obviously the trend doesn't depend. It's like, no, it's actually a favorite. It counts this time.
Yeah.
No.
So home dogs though 16-12-1 ATS before their bye week. That's 57.1%. But I think some of the favorites that intrigues me. So like looking at the Packers.
You were already on the Packers.
I was already on the Packers, yeah. And I think
and it's less than a touchdown now, so that's nice.
Yep, I think that's the move. I think the Packers might be the play here. And then Bears Raiders, I just think it's going to be a fun game. I don't want to step in front of that game, to be honest with you, because I could see it going either way. But I do think that if you look at the trends here, plus the Packers coming off this loss, it just feels like a good spot to back the Packers. Now, speaking of the Packers coming off that loss, you looked at an interesting trend here for this coming week as well.
Yes. So the Browns beat the Packers. They did so in miracle fashion, coming back from down 10 in the last few minutes. So a couple of things I wanted to look at. One is, how do teams do after a big comeback like that? Generally pretty bad. But just more generally, if you're a big underdog, like the Browns are almost every week, and you get an upset win, how do you do if you are a big underdog the next week? I was thinking bad. The results, bad. 12-27 if you're just more than a touchdown and you're on the road after coming off a big upset win since 2012. I wanted a little bit of a bigger sample, so I'm just like, all right, let me throw the Panthers in there. They'll qualify. If I say you're bigger than a 4-point dog in the previous week, you win, and now you're a 4-point dog or greater. Much bigger sample, 6 wins straight up, but it's pretty stark, 81 losses. So if you're in a survivor pool, Patriots make a lot of sense. Panthers coming off a big win. They're probably not going to make it 2 in a row. And Lions make a lot of sense to me. I'm probably going to go with the Lions. The Browns, if they looked at these next 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago, they're like 1-1. That's great.
Yeah.
We'll take 1-1. You know, it's all the same oat bag. We are on our merry way. I think that is and by the way, 70% ATS, those 4-point dogs. So I think the Lions and the Patriots both probably roll here. And the Browns and the Panthers, they're 1-1. They're happy.
So I love that angle because I would like to fade the Cleveland Browns. Again, read me those ATS numbers that apply to the Cleveland Browns here.
So if you're a 7-point dog, win, and now you're a 7-point dog again since 2012, you're 12 winners, 27 losers. So great fade spot. And
okay.
If you're, and I pulled up 4. I'll do that again. In that case, you're 63% fading these teams.
That's
ATS.
great. That's great. Well, I looked at it from a Packers perspective. If you lost a game, and I started with the 2021 season like I always do. If you lost a game as greater than a touchdown favorite, and then you are favored again the following week, 25-10 straight up, 21-14 against the spread, 60% against the spread. Your average line in those games is -6. So you lost the game as greater than a touchdown favorite. Now you're in the bounce back spot, 21-14 against the spread, covering by 2.5 points per game.
It seems like the almost mirrored yin and yang psychology. You win as the Browns. You're not supposed to win. It's kind of a miracle. You're relaxed. It's not the biggest week in the world for you. The Packers, for a lot of reasons, narrative-wise, but mostly because they just lost this game and were knocked off the pedestal as Super Bowl favorites, they're going to be locked in. Teams like this are locked in.
Yeah, so, I mean, to me, I'm already making plays on the Lions minus the 9.5 and the Packers minus the 6.5. I know it's, like, massive, lines here, especially, like, laying 9.5 with the Lions and 6.5 for a road team here with the Packers, but I just think that these numbers are too good to turn down. Like, these teams are in. This is the spot that I want to bet on these teams. I want to, and like I always talk about in the NFL, I want to fade recency bias, and I feel like this is the ultimate recency bias. You have a team that just lost as a north of a touchdown favorite, and the other side you have a team that just won in a game where they shouldn't have. So I want to fade both those angles here. And so, give me the Packers. I'll lay the 6.5 on Sunday Night Football. And then I'm going to go against the Cleveland Browns, and I'm going to lay the big number here with the Detroit Lions. All right, Mackenzie, let's get into some Major League Baseball as the postseason races are heating up. They are scorching hot right now.
Valspar Ultra starts at just $29.98 a gallon. So we've got you covered when your daughter wants to paint her room again, after last year's masterpiece of a unicorn mural.
Dad, please.
Or when you realize that maybe you went too hard on the grayish.
I miss color.
Or when you were sure you wanted a home gym, but your elliptical is currently hanging your laundry.
What about a home office?
Shop everything you need for your next phase with Valspar. Available at Lowe's. Price varies by Sheen.
Another wild night in Major League Baseball as we inch closer and closer to the start of the postseason. I don't think anybody wants to be the third wild card in the National League, Mackenzie. Literally, I don't think anybody wants it because the three teams that are in contention all lost. The Mets lost, the Diamondbacks lost, the Reds lost. So no one wants the third wild card. And I'm just going to throw it out there. We never needed the third wild card, right? It's just...
Agreed.
We never needed it, but you know what? It keeps more teams involved. It's fun. I mean, the Diamondbacks are a hell of a story. Like, it's great. Like, what would this final week of the season be like if there was no third wild card? Because the Padres,
That's true.
The Padres, 5.5 games up already. They'd be like, it's over. Like, we know who the teams are in the National League. Now, in the American League, that might be a little bit closer of a race because the Red Sox are only, 2 games up here on Detroit. But yeah, it's whatever. Speaking of the American League, though, here's where we stand. So. The Red Sox win again. Shout out for our team total cashing last night. I actually did a little ladder play on that because on the show yesterday gave out the over 4.5 at some plus money. And then when I checked the line this yesterday morning, or yesterday, yesterday afternoon, whatever, but before the games, it was actually 3.5 with some juice. So I played it at 3.5. I played it at 4.5, and they scored 7 runs. 7-1 Red Sox beat the Blue Jays. Well, you combine that win by the Blue Jays with the win by the New York Yankees, and can I just say something about the New York Yankees? I have them under 91.5 wins in my Westgate season wins contest. If I am very close to 21-9 for my record here. In the Westgate contest.
Is it winner take all?
It's top 3 get paid.
Okay.
In talking to Fez and talking to other people, 21 wins might get paid. Okay. Maybe 22 probably wins it. 23 definitely wins it probably. But 21, especially because then it could come down to tiebreakers. And I have the Dodgers at 100 wins as the tiebreaker. And I would think that the majority of people would have the Dodgers over as the tiebreaker because everybody was so bullish on the Dodgers this year, but I wasn't. So I think I got a good chance.
The win total is crazy, 104, right?
Yeah. So I think I have a good chance to cash, getting top 3 in this contest if I finish at 21-9. Now, in order for me to finish at 21-9, my 21st win, because all the other ones are decided pretty much, I need the Yankees under 91.5. But the Yankees won again last night. They now have 90 wins. So they have 1 game against the White Sox left here today, and then they have 3 games against Baltimore. I need the Yankees to go 1-3 the rest of the year, and I don't think it's going to happen.
Not against that schedule. I mean, 2 weeks ago, you must have been sitting pretty, but they've gone on 9-3 run?
And you know what's going to be
worst
so
time
upsetting?
in the world for your favorite team to do this to you.
And you know what it's going to be upsetting is if I finish 20-10, I'm not going to be in the money, And,
you could tell people.
I know.
20-10.
And I'm going to be so upset if 21-9 winds up winning 3rd place. You
have some Yankees to win the division bets, right? Because they're now 45% chance.
Well, yeah,
so
because
they're tied now.
The Blue Jays lost, the Yankees won, so they're tied atop the standings. Blue Jays do have the tiebreaker, so now it just comes down to the final 4 games of the year.
Yeah, but
where
the Yankees have that schedule.
If the Yankees have that schedule, and the Blue Jays, meanwhile, they will face. They'll finish off here against the Red Sox, the final game of this series, and then they have 3 games against the Tampa Bay Rays. So, I mean, I would give the Yankees the best chance here to win this division over the next couple of days or so. But hey, if they go 1-3 and I finish with 21 wins out of the season wins contest, there might be a chance. We'll see. We'll find out certainly on Sunday if I do cash in this contest. So that'll be fun. It'll be fun to cash, but we'll see. So yeah, I do think the Yankees win the division. Also last night, Aaron Judge hit home runs number 50 and 51. And here's like a crazy stat with the Aaron Judge home runs. This is his 4th 50 home run season. Okay? His 4th 50 home run season. Like, if you put that into perspective, the only other players with 4 separate 50 home run seasons, Babe Ruth, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa.
Wow.
Right?
Hank Aaron famously never did it. Barry Bonds did it once. Man, Aaron Judge he's not going to have 700 home runs, but he's going to be atop on a lot of these lists. Currently the number 1 OPS guy by some distance in the league for active players.
Now here's the thing. Cal Raleigh hit his 59th and 60th home runs last night. The 4th player in American League history to have a 60 home run season. Another reason why I do not believe that Cal Raleigh is the MVP. Aaron Judge last night became the 4th player this season to have at least 50 home runs. Do you realize the only other season with 4 players hitting 50 home runs was during the steroid era? It was McGwire, Sosa, Griffey, and Fez's neighbor Greg Vaughn in 1998. And then Barry Bonds, Luis Gonzalez, A-Rod, and Sammy Sosa in 2001.
Wow.
What that tells me is that home runs are significantly up this year, therefore devaluing the home run. Like, if you told me that Cal Raleigh was the only player to hit 50 home runs this year, and he finishes with 60 home runs, and we're sitting here going, wow, like, that's the MVP. Nobody else in baseball hit 50 home runs, and he hit 60. Like, yeah, that's the MVP. 3 other players hit over 50 home runs this year. So I'm supposed to sit here and marvel when I got other players. I got Judge with 51, right? I got Ohtani with 53. I got Schwarber with 56. So I'm supposed to celebrate 60 when there's how is that the MVP? Like, how is that a great accomplishment when that's only 3 home runs more than Kyle Schwarber? It's 5 home runs more than Ohtani, right?
It's the way they're going about it. It's the way they're swinging and the way they're thinking about at-bats. Batting averages across the league are down year over year and, historically. But home runs per game are creeping back up to where they used to be and higher than a lot of years in the 90s. So, yeah, I think that does have to be taken into consideration.
And, like,
there's a reason why you have WAR. It's like, let's take everything into account and spit out a number.
Yes.
Home runs do not magically make your team win more games than 3 triples or whatever.
And Aaron Judge is currently an 8.9 wins above replacement, while Cal Raleigh is at a 6.9 wins.
Great season, Cal Raleigh. Tell your kids about it.
But that's the thing. If your only argument as to why Cal Raleigh should win the MVP is because he's hit a ton of home runs. Okay, Junior Caminero has 44 home runs this year. Junior Caminero has 44 home runs this year. Like, what? The home run is devalued this year. Like, it's funny. No one's talking about juiced baseballs. Maybe they should. Like, look at these home runs, right? Like, and Gino Suarez, 40. Like, that's the thing, too. So Cal Raleigh has a teammate that has 47 home runs. And I guess Judge's teammate, the next highest is Trent Grisham's got 34 home runs, right? So, and I know most of the Genos, came before he went to the Mariners this year, but still. So it's just, to me, it's the home runs are devalued because of the amount of people that are hitting 50. And by the way, If Gino Suarez hits a couple of home runs, that'll be 5 players to hit over 50 this year. So you can't just tell me that, because Cal Raleigh hit 59 to 60 home runs, that he's the MVP when 4 other players besides him have over 50 home runs this year. It devalues the home run. Okay, let's take a look at the schedule for today in Major League Baseball. The Reds need to pick up a win. You cannot get swept by the Pirates when you are trying to get into the postseason. You just can't. You absolutely cannot get swept by the Pirates. Nick Lodolo's on the mound for the Reds. Ben Ashcraft goes for the Pirates. Reds are minus 165. If I lose my shirt on this game, I'm going to lose my shirt on this game, Mackenzie.
Are you martingaling the Reds at this point?
I mean, I'm all over them today. I'm all over them. Again, you can't. You just can't do this. You can't get swept by the Pirates if you're trying to make the playoffs. So, again, this could be. I'll lose my shirt. I'll lose my shirt. But I'm on the Reds here in this afternoon game there in Cincinnati. Meanwhile, elsewhere, you have the Diamondbacks will take on the Dodgers. Once again, Zach Gallen goes for Arizona. Yamamoto is on the mound for the Dodgers. Tigers and Guardians will do it once again. Parker Messick on the mound for the Guardians. No announced pitcher yet for the Tigers. And this division is just, the Tigers are going to get swept by the Guardians, and the Tigers are going to miss the playoffs. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a collapse. What a collapse. The Yankees host the White Sox again. It's Carlos Rodon for the Yankees. Davis Martin goes for the White Sox. Brian Bayo on the mound for the Red Sox. Louis Varland pitching for the Blue Jays. Toronto's minus 150, but I want no part of them as they've been slumping here. Nolan McLean gets the start for the Mets, looking to salvage this series against the Cubs here. Shota Imanaga gets the bump for Chicago. And, the Mets will certainly, they'll know before they play because the Mets are playing tonight. The Reds are playing during the day, so the Mets will know if they have a shot here to take over sole possession of they already have sole possession, but if they are chasing or if they can extend their lead here for the third wild card in the National League. The Mets are a game up on both the Diamondbacks and the Reds here with just 4 games left to play in the Major League Baseball regular season. A reminder, we got sportsbook promos up for you guys up on betterday.com and in your Better Day newsletter. Scroll to the bottom of your newsletter. You will see the link for the sportsbook promos. Just click on it, choose your state, and get the promo that is associated with the book that is available there. We have partnerships with Rebet, Underdog, and Kalshi, and we do have more books coming as well, so we're going to get you promos as much as we can. And special programming alert, later today, I will be releasing exclusively for Better Day subscribers. Okay, so this is important. It's going to be a little podcast. It's going to be short. It's not going to be available on this podcast feed. It is only going to be available on betterday.com. If you are already a subscriber, you'll get it emailed to you. So you'll have the audio or video like in your email. You'll get it there. I will be talking fantasy football with Michael Fabiano. The great Michael Fabiano will join me. Sports Illustrated will join me on the program. And we will talk some fantasy football for this weekend. And we'll do some sit or start questions. We'll do a little maybe build an underdog lineup for this weekend, so you definitely want to tune into that, help you guys, maybe build a little DFS lineup and set your starters for this weekend here in the NFL. So Fabiano will join me coming up later on today, and that'll be sent out to Better Day subscribers only. So go to betterday.com, make sure that you subscribe. It's free, and you'll get this bonus little episode emailed to you as soon as it is done being recorded a little bit later on this morning. For Mackenzie Rivers, who you can follow on Twitter at @MackinRivers, I'm Scott Seidenberg. You can follow me at Scott's On Air, and here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.